2021, 5:36 p.m. 4 days after Dee vanished, the property was searched again, while Dale agreed to sit at the kitchen table and speak to the police again. This time, he changed parts of his story. He now admitted they fought on Saturday.
Said, well, I'm all done. I'm selling everything. We're done. And she hung up the phone, and I had no more contact for the rest of the day. She went, I tried to call her several times, she wouldn't answer her phone. And she left while working for daughter Amber.
He said he didn't see her again until that night, when the argument continued.
Trying not to get to where we're both strangers. Because honestly, we talk to each other. And she was very bad because she was, after hindsight, I look back, I think she was trying to get mad so she could have a fight so that she could have a reason to leave that time.
Dee was planning to leave Dale and was finally going to ask for a divorce the night before she disappeared. The family confirmed that she'd already made arrangements for their daughter to stay elsewhere so she could have that conversation. From there, the questions only grew. Dale brought up the ring Dee had left in his office, even going further to suggest that she might have driven their Hummer there herself just to leave it behind. The vehicle had a diagnostic tracker that also allowed its GPS location to be monitored through an app connected to Dale's phone.
I think she's paranoid about her still track her in. Yeah, I think she knew that this one could be tracked. Went on this one, then she pulled out, went down there, put the ring in my desk, went back out, and said, "Oh, if I track this too, because you know where I go." So it had to be. I'm talking off the cuff, I guess. I mean, I don't know any of this. So in theory,
He was over-explaining everything, offering detectives stories to clear his name, and they could see right through it. He even told them that $100,000 was missing from a safe in the office, alleging that Dee might have taken the money to leave. In this story of a woman abandoning her family, Dale was missing something. Her son Zach, the bookkeeper for the company, said Dee kept an envelope of cash in her office, one that Dale had no knowledge of. And that envelope was still sitting there, untouched. She couldn't possibly have left without that money. Dale's movements on the morning Dee vanished were captured clearly on camera. He left the house around 6:30, saying Dee was asleep on the couch. By 7, he was operating the JCB loader to move liquid fertilizer, making a couple of trips between outbuildings. He finished and parked the loader near the house just before 7:30. Later telling detectives, he walked through the living room and saw Dee still asleep. After that, he drove around doing chores on a small orange Kubota, then left in the sprayer before 8. He returned briefly, then left again around 8:40 to spray a nearby field. By the time Raquel arrived to see her mother, Dale was already gone, and according to him, he didn't know Dee was missing until nearly 9:30 or 10. A week after she went missing, Dee's brother Greg organized a massive search. Volunteers walked hundreds of acres. They found nothing. 6 weeks later, Greg confronted Dale. He questioned the investigation, the delays, and Dale's lack of urgency. Dale said things were moving fine. Greg didn't believe him. His frustration boiled over, but suspicion wasn't evidence, and emotion wasn't proof. Greg even filed a civil suit to protect Dee's share of the businesses because, shockingly, Dale had begun moving money. Dale later claimed he moved funds under professional advice, but he was clearly siphoning everything to his account. The Michigan State Police and the FBI continued the search using ground-penetrating radars, drones, and digging in the farmland. In October, deputies and volunteers searched the farms again. Investigators reminded the family that without a body, charges would be difficult. But the family refused to accept silence as an answer and started social media campaigns. Greg came up with a plan to pressure Dale. He paid for a billboard near Dale's farm saying, "Help Dale find Dee." It stood right where his truck drivers passed every day. The message was meant to provoke attention and remind Dale it wasn't over. 10 months after Dee vanished, Greg offered a $50,000 reward for any information to find his sister. Sadly, there were no signs that Dee might still be alive. No camera sightings, digital activity, or bank withdrawals.
Create your own sunshine and embrace a gradually deeper tan daily with Jergens Natural Glow.
I wish I could pay for live sports for just one day and not the whole month. Sling lets you do that.
I wish I could finish one sentence without some man cutting
Any
me.
other wishful thinkers?
Did you hear me?
Introducing Passes. Get live TV for the day, week, or weekend, starting at $4.99. Sling lets you do that. Empty Gear Club. Terrible stats, but I didn't quit. Kept grinding and farming gear. From trash to top tier, my attack skyrocketed. Break down extras to boost your stats even higher. Refine attributes for perfect rolls. Leveling up unlocks insane new skills. Now I can solo the boss. This game is crazy addictive. So satisfying. You gotta try this.
The following spring, new search warrants allowed a continued search of the property. Everything suggested disappearance by force, not choice. In March 2022, Dale was brought in for questioning again. Police had uncovered suspicious activity. That month, the business received its final loan payments, part of a $1.4 million loan that had been applied for back in the autumn of 2021, after Dee went missing. And once the final payments came in, Dale immediately transferred the money to himself. Nearly $1 million moved straight into his own pocket. He sat in the interrogation room, trying his best to frame someone else.
He's been gone an hour to 2 hours. And the kids are here all in pain. She's left countless times. And this is weird. And then Zach's in the office going through the security cameras, trying to figure out where's mom at. He wasn't going through security cameras. He was beating shit off the cameras because he picked his mom up and he wasn't no trackers.
The investigator had another plan. He allowed Dale to dig himself a hole.
What did you see in the house when you could run that in there? He was still sleeping. Okay, he's still sleeping. And at this point, this is like a silly question. Was anyone else on the property or in the house? Not that I'm aware of. Okay. And he's still done about 6:30. That was my next question. How long did it been? Okay. So that morning, maybe close 6:37.
Corroborating Dale's statement that he hadn't moved the Hummer and that he had seen Dee sleeping on the couch, the investigator confirmed his location.
Okay. Give that, And where was the JCB park? Just inside by here. Okay. And you said you pulled out of the house, you shot on pull up here, pull around this way, pull up over here. One very late in the house, back on through out here, put yourself out of the car, move over here. Okay. You might write some notes down here, please. Okay.
Investigators noticed the Hummer had been moved by taking a long, unnecessary route instead of a more direct one that Dee usually took to the office. This longer route conveniently avoided every camera, a detail that immediately raised suspicion. What made it worse was Dale's phone data. That morning, long before anyone reported Dee missing, he had already tried to access the property's camera system through the app on his phone.
I never accessed them, you know. I never go into it. Yeah, when you did access the cameras, what were you looking for? I know it's a silly question, but I was looking to see, you know, what was going on at home, where we didn't go to. I didn't look at anything other than Zach's because they had me locked up. I couldn't get into it. Okay, well, there's actually no doubt you accessed the camera that morning. I'm just asking you what you were looking for. It's just silly. We're trying to read the sheriff's department, so we just need you to explain everything. It's silly as it sounds, you know? They were looking to see what cars were left with the video. Okay, and that's what you did when you accessed them? I didn't access them. Zach already had it on the screen. They only crossing down each other? Yeah, I didn't. There's absolutely no doubt you accessed the cameras. If you were just looking for your wife, then just say you're just looking for your wife. I was looking for my wife, but I didn't access the security cameras anymore.
Dale wasn't expecting them to have this information, so he completely denied accessing the camera.
You had access to them on your phone, correct? Yes, it didn't work. It did not work. Okay, so when you tried to access the camera, what were you doing? I was looking to see who was in the office, if he was on the cameras. Okay, so you just looking for Dee, that's all I was trying to get. Yeah. So looking for Dee. You don't see where she's at. I already figured she's in Zach's house. Okay. And that's specifically trying to go on to your family to do, right? Right. Okay, and
For now, he relied on altering the words slightly, cameras on his phone that day. But the investigators are not done.
Stephanie called you to ask where he was.
I was thinking it was around 9 o'clock, 9:30.
Okay, and until that point, as far as you can use at home, right? Okay,
It was Sunday, I texted her, tell her about something so that she knew over that.
okay, but until then, things are normally don't go any different, right?
Dale had used Dee's Cadillac that morning, and so far, he hadn't disclosed this to the police. He tried to come up with an explanation.
So yeah, why did you access the Cadillac that morning? What did you want the Cadillac for in the garage?
This is the Cadillac for.
You accessed the Cadillac. You didn't do all of that. I'm not saying you drove it. I'm just saying you accessed it for some reason. You don't recall why.
I looked at it on my app on my phone.
I'm not certain when you did physically with the vehicle, but you had access to the car.
No, but I probably looked at my phone to see what was at.
Okay.
I don't get access to it.
Okay, I'm not familiar with what you can do with that.
I'm sorry, I sit down for a moment on my phone, so I'll be where it's at.
Once again, Dale tried to hide behind the words, claiming he didn't drive the cart, but he had access through his phone. Investigators are asking for a reason. Dee's wallet, ID, and key were missing, and it was a well-known fact that she kept those items on the passenger side of the car for quick access. Dale had applied for a $1.4 million loan using Dee's trucking company, submitting her signature and even a photocopy of her driver's license, despite the fact that Dee's wallet and ID were never found after she disappeared.
Tell us about that. Tell us about that.
Just be honest, sorry. I'm sorry, I on my phone, start the car, lock it, steer our phone.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you would have accessed that app and it tells you where the car is, and that's why you would have see where she was.
Yeah, see my car, the car's almost once you're in the phone.
Okay. And what about when you tried to locate your iPhone? What purpose was that?
See what she's in.
Same thing.
Everybody's trying to find her iPhone.
Okay. Okay. And did it describe to us that when things were complicated, she didn't like you knowing where she was? Did she know you had access to those things at the time?
Dale had unlocked Dee's Cadillac with his phone. There was no doubt, and plenty of circumstantial evidence to build a case. In September of 2023, Dale was found guilty of ignoring a court order.
Today, Judge Sala found Dale Warner in contempt of court, stating he intentionally and deliberately sold his wife's assets after being instructed by the court not to. She marked several examples of Dale's contempt, the most egregious being the selling of Dee's trucking company, which was the most profitable portion of her estate.
The judge sentenced him to 93 days in jail and ordered him to repay significant funds to Dee's estate. A year later, Dale was finally arrested for the murder of Dee Warner. The challenge was obvious. No body, no physical evidence, no confirmed cause of death. How do you prove a murder when the victim is missing? Still, prosecutors pushed forward. Meanwhile, Dale had granted temporary custody of his daughter, Lena, to his son, Jaron, a sure sign he was worried about the outcome of the case, not exactly something an innocent person would do. Dee's daughter, Raquel, addressed the rumor about a second secret phone, explaining that her mother wasn't tech-savvy and had never set one up. Dee was afraid of her husband.
Was your mom happy in the marriage?
No. One of the last things that my mom said to me was, I watch Dateline like every night and he could do something like that to me.
And what did she mean? What did you take that to mean? He could do something like that to me.
Objection, speculation.
What you know?
Make her disappear.
Dee Warner's sister-in-law, who had picked up Lena for a sleepover, also provided information.
Did she tell you why she wanted you to pick Lena up?
She said that her and Dale were gonna have a talk.
Did she say what her plan was in regards to this talk with Dale?
She said she wanted to sell the trucking company and be done.
Okay. Be done with what?
The marriage.
Tire tracks near the back of the house that day Dee disappeared suggested Dale may have used the farm's loader to move her body. On June 7th, 2024, The judge ruled that there was enough evidence to believe Dee Warner was dead and that her husband was likely responsible. Dale was ordered to stand trial. But the biggest breakthrough hadn't happened yet. 2 months later, in August 2024, detectives called the family in for an emergency meeting. Police had gone back to a property Dale and Dee owned and removed a large metal fertilizer tank. It had a non-factory weld on the back and a warning sign saying it was out of service. When investigators scanned the tank, they finally saw what they had spent 3 years searching for. There was a body inside. Within days, authorities confirmed it was Dee. Her death was ruled a homicide. According to the search warrant, security footage from the day she was reported missing showed Dale inside a farm building near the welding equipment, the same area connected to that tank. The tank had been sitting inside of a storage building that Dale had full access to. Additionally, cameras showed him looking for welding equipment. After 3 long years, her remains were laid to rest in a private burial, giving the family the one thing they never thought they'd get again. Meanwhile, police deduced that Dale was not working alone. Dale's son Jaron was the welder in the family. Dale barely knew his way around the equipment, and by then, Dale had already handed temporary guardianship of little Lena over to Jaron. To investigators, it didn't look random. It looked coordinated. On the 1st of March 2024, Jaron Warner was arrested for tampering with evidence and as an accessory to murder.
Hey, Jared. Yeah, change up a little bit. With ya? Okay. We got a warrant for your arrest, buddy. Put your hands behind your back. Are you serious? Yeah. Are you serious? I'll explain everything to you. Just give us a minute, okay?
There wasn't much evidence tying Jaron to the case, but the officers knew he was involved.
Jaron, your warrant is for accessory after the fact of a homicide and for tampering with evidence. So essentially, you took actions after the homicide that you now know and should have known, likely, that it was after a crime occurred. I've been truthful with you. Your dad put you in really shitty spots throughout this, and unfortunately, you continue to let him to do that. And it's not a position I envy you for, that's for sure. But those are the cards you were dealt. But again, short of begging you, I've done everything I could for you to talk to me and explain this part of the story. And unfortunately, you didn't want to do that.
Unfortunately, the charges that were filed against Jaron had to be dropped because the only witness in the case couldn't be found. Long before Dee's remains were discovered, the courts had already marked September 2025 as the start of Dale Warner's murder trial. But the moment investigators pulled that tank from the property and confirmed the body inside, the defense needed more time. The trial date has now been pushed to January 27, 2026, giving the prosecution time to rebuild the case with valuable evidence they have. While the criminal case moves forward, Dee's family has